What if I told you 3 rare USA 5-cent coins could be worth thousands? One so rare, it hardly ever shows up. The second? It's sold for over $5,000 at auction. And the third? You might have it sitting in your pocket right now. Want to know which ones? Hit like and watch to find out. Welcome to Rare Coin Insights. Could a simple nickel from 1984 change your life forever? Think about that for a second. Most of us don't even glance at the coins in our pocket. They're just spare change, right? But what if I told you that one of those nickels could be worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions? A small, ordinary coin with the power to completely redefine the meaning of pocket change. The 1984 USA 5-cent coin has become the subject of heated discussions among collectors, with whispers of a rare variation that's sending shockwaves through the coin world. And here's the kicker, one of these nickels could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket or coin jar right now. This isn't just another coin, it's a mystery. A piece of hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this nickel so special and, more importantly, how to identify if you have one of these rare gems. Don't go anywhere because what we're about to reveal could change your life. The story of the 1984 USA nickel begins decades before its minting. Back in 1938, the US Mint introduced the Jefferson nickel, a design by Felix Schlag that would become an American icon. It featured Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. This design has been in circulation for generations, making it easy to overlook its significance. Fast forward to 1984, a year when over 1.4 billion nickels were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. A staggering number of coins, right? At first glance, these nickels appeared to be just another batch of everyday currency. No one suspected anything extraordinary about them. But the economic conditions of the 1980s led to some fascinating anomalies in coin production. Collectors, as they often do, began inspecting their coins more closely. They scrutinized every detail, every line, every imperfection. That's when the whispers began, whispers of something unusual. A subtle variation, a tiny detail that could mean the difference between 5 cents and a life-changing fortune. But what did they find? And how could such a small detail create such a massive impact? Stick around because we're diving deeper into this mystery. Coin collectors are a passionate bunch, and for good reason. Rare coins often hold more than just monetary value. They're pieces of history, artifacts that connect us to a specific time and place. The fascination with rare coins, in particular, has grown over the years. Mistakes made during the minting process can create rare and valuable coins that are highly sought after by collectors. Think about the 1955 double-die penny, a coin that's now legendary among numismatists. Or the 1942-41 overdate nickel, another classic example of a minting mistake that turned into a collector's dream. These errors are rare because they escape the quality control process, making them unintentional treasures. Could the 1984 nickel be hiding a similar secret? There are rumors of double-die obverse and reverse variations, striking anomalies, misaligned dies, and even weak or missing mint marks. Each of these errors can dramatically increase the value of a coin. But are these rumors about the 1984 nickel true? And if they are, how can you tell if your nickel is one of these rare variations? The answer might surprise you. Now, let's talk value. Most 1984 nickels are worth exactly what you'd expect, 5 cents. But when it comes to rare coins, condition is everything. Grading plays a huge role in determining a coin's worth. Coins graded MS 65 or higher, essentially flawless coins, are incredibly desirable. Even a minor anomaly or error can send the value of such a coin skyrocketing. Imagine this, you're holding a nickel that looks ordinary, but upon closer inspection, you discover a rare double-die reverse. Suddenly, that 5-cent coin could fetch tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Some collectors speculate that a specific 1984 nickel with an undiscovered error could break records. Yes, you heard that right. A single nickel, hidden among billions, could potentially make you a millionaire. Coming up, we'll reveal the exact features to look for on your 1984 nickel, so you can find out if you're holding a fortune in your hands. The process of identifying a rare 1984 nickel is straightforward, but it requires attention to detail. First, check the mint mark. Most 1984 nickels were minted in Philadelphia, meaning they have no mint mark. Others were produced in Denver, bearing the familiar D mint mark. But anomalies in these marks, like a faint or misaligned D, can be a red flag that your nickel is something special. Next, examine the coin's obverse and reverse under magnification. Look closely at Jefferson's profile. Do the details appear doubled or distorted? Check the inscription E pluribus unum and the word Monticello for signs of doubling or irregularities. These subtle errors might be invisible to the naked eye but can be easily spotted with a magnifying glass or microscope. Finally, inspect the coin's overall quality. Weak strikes, off-center designs, or unusual patterns could indicate an error. If you're unsure, consult a coin guide or take your nickel to an expert for grading. Still not convinced? Coming up, we'll show you a real-life example of a nickel that turned a collector's spare change into a jackpot. So, what makes the 1984 nickel truly special? Experts believe it could hold one of the rarest errors ever discovered. While no verified examples have shattered records yet, there's plenty of buzz in the coin collecting community. Some collectors have already uncovered unique features in their 1984 nickels, sparking rumors that we might just be on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery. Imagine being the person to find that one coin, the coin that redefines the value of a nickel forever. It's happened before with other coins, and it could happen again. Stories of collectors striking gold with their spare change are more common than you think. Could you be the next? Even if you don't find a fortune in the 1984 nickel, there are countless other coins out there with untapped potential. Now you know the hidden potential of the 1984 nickel, but what about the other coins in your collection? Could there be a penny, a dime, or a quarter in your pocket right now worth millions? Subscribe and hit the bell icon because in our next video, we're uncovering another coin mystery that could turn your pocket change into a life-changing fortune. What if I told you that a simple 5-cent coin from 1986 could be worth more than you ever imagined? We're talking about a hidden value that most people have completely overlooked, an error in minting that could turn this humble nickel into a treasure worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. And no, I'm not exaggerating. Imagine walking around with a coin in your pocket, thinking it's just a regular nickel, when in fact, it could be worth a fortune. That's exactly the kind of opportunity I'm about to reveal to you. You might think your spare change is just that, spare. But in this video, I'm going to show you how some 1986 nickels could be hiding a fortune. The kind of money most people dream of just by checking the coins in their wallet. Could you have a hidden treasure right now, tucked away in your coin jar, waiting to be discovered? Stick around until the end, because by the time this video is over, you'll know exactly what to look for to identify these hidden gems. And trust me, you won't believe how easy it could be to find one of these treasures. Let's take a step back and talk about the 1986 nickel in its historical context. The United States Mint has been producing nickels since the 19th century, and each year, there are coins that come off the production line without anyone realizing they're about to become highly sought after by collectors. 1986 was one of those years. The regular 5-cent nickel, featuring the iconic image of Thomas Jefferson, was minted in massive quantities. So you might think that a 1986 nickel is just, well, a nickel. Nothing special. But that's where you'd be wrong. The 1986 5-cent coin carries the same design as the previous years, Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the front and Monticello, his Virginia estate, on the reverse. Seems pretty standard, right? After all, this is a design that's been in circulation for decades, and there are billions of them out there. But here's the kicker, there's a rare version of this coin with a hidden error that could turn it from just another nickel into something incredibly valuable. If you were to hold a regular 1986 nickel in your hand, chances are you wouldn't think much of it. After all, it looks just like the ones you've seen in your pocket or purse for years. But let me tell you, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. Take a closer look, and you might just discover something that could make you thousands of dollars richer. This is what most people would see if they glanced at their change, a classic design, a simple 5-cent piece. And, if you're like most people, you'd probably just toss it into your change jar, right? But trust me, this coin is hiding something that most people miss, something that makes it worth far more than just 5 cents. There are certain 1986 nickels out there that are worth far more than face value, and they could be sitting in your pocket or your coin jar right now, just waiting to be discovered. Most people look at a 1986 nickel and think, okay, it's just a nickel. Nothing special here. And why wouldn't they? After all, these coins are so common that they're practically everywhere. In fact, most people probably wouldn't give a second thought to the change in their pocket. But you'd be surprised how many of these coins are actually worth more than you think. The truth is, if you're not looking closely, you might be walking past a treasure without even knowing it. The hidden value isn't just a minor flaw or a small imperfection. Some 1986 nickels have a minting mistake, an error, that could skyrocket their value to thousands of dollars. How do I know this? Well, I've seen firsthand what one of these coins can fetch at auction. But to find out if your 1986 nickel could be one of these rare gems, you need to know exactly what to look for. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Now, let's dive into the world of minting errors. What makes some 1986 nickels so valuable is the presence of specific errors that occurred during the minting process. And while you might think of these as simple mistakes, in the world of coin collecting, these errors can make a coin extraordinarily valuable. We're talking about errors that turn a common nickel into something worth far more than you could imagine. One of the most common and valuable errors on the 1986 nickel is the famous double die variety. What does this mean? A double die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, creating a doubled image. You might not notice it right away, but these subtle details can make a huge difference in value. On a 1986 nickel, this often shows up as a double date or a double Jefferson. It's a subtle detail that most people overlook, but for collectors, it can make all the difference, and that's not the only error you should be on the lookout for. There are also die cracks, where cracks in the minting die create unique patterns on the coin. These can make the coin even more valuable, depending on the size and location of the crack. These errors are incredibly rare, and the more noticeable the error, the higher the price it can fetch. Just imagine, what if you stumbled upon a 1986 nickel with a die crack that makes it worth a small fortune? But hold on a second, not all 1986 nickels with these errors are worth a lot of money. In fact, some of them are virtually worthless. So, how can you tell the difference between a nickel that's worth $5 and one that's worth thousands? Well, that's exactly what I'm about to show you. So, what's the real value of these rare 1986 nickels with errors? Let's look at some real-world examples from recent auctions. One 1986 double die nickel recently sold for $4,000 at auction. Another example, a 1986 nickel with a die crack sold for $2,500. You can see how these errors, no matter how subtle, can make a huge difference in value. These aren't just small changes, they're changes that can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Could you have a rare 1986 nickel sitting right in your pocket, right now? It's more common than you think. You may be wondering how you can spot one of these valuable coins. Well, stick with me, because I'm about to show you exactly what to look for. It might be easier than you think. let me tell you about one collector who found a 1986 double-die nickel in their pocket change. At first, they didn't realize what they had, but after getting it professionally graded, they ended up selling it for over $5,000. It just goes to show that if you know what to look for, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than you think. So why do some 1986 nickels sell for thousands, while others are worth only a few cents? The value of a coin depends on three main factors: rarity, condition, and demand. Rarity is the key here. The rarer the coin, the higher the price. But condition is just as important. A coin that's worn down from years of circulation won't fetch as much as a coin in pristine condition. That's why it's so important to grade your coins properly. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. The better the condition of your coin, the higher the grade it receives, and that directly affects how much it's worth. If your 1986 nickel is graded at MS 65 or higher, you could be looking at a much bigger payout. But if it's worn out or damaged, it won't fetch nearly as much. Let me explain how this works. When grading a coin, you need to look at the details. The more clearly defined the features, like Jefferson's portrait, the better the grade. Coins with sharp details and minimal wear are valued much higher than coins that are heavily worn or scratched. So, if you want to determine whether your 1986 nickel is worth something, you need to grade it properly. Start by looking at the edges for wear and examining the portrait of Jefferson. The clearer the features, the higher the grade. But here's the thing, there's one last trick I'm going to show you that can help you find these valuable nickels even faster. It's something most collectors don't know, and it could change everything for you. Stick around, because you're about to learn the secret to spotting these rare coins in no time. Now let's get to the exciting part, finding these rare 1986 nickels in your own collection. First, start by looking at the date on the coin. Double die errors are most often found on the numbers in the date, so check for any doubling there. Look closely and compare the date on your coin with others you have. The error is subtle, but it's there if you know what to look for. Then, move to Jefferson's portrait. Look for any doubling or distortion around his face. This could be another indication of a double die error. These are the types of details that can make a coin worth thousands instead of just 5 cents. And don't forget to check Monticello, Jefferson's estate. Sometimes die cracks appear on the building, which can make the coin even more valuable. But here's the real secret that most collectors miss: the best place to find rare 1986 nickels is at estate sales, garage sales, and flea markets. That's where you'll find coins that haven't been picked through by collectors yet. I've seen people find rare coins like these for just a few dollars, simply because the sellers didn't know their value. You can also check online auctions and coin dealers. Just make sure you do your research and know what you're looking for before making a purchase. So now you know the secrets behind the 1986 5-cent coin. Keep an eye out for those rare double die errors and die cracks. They could be worth a small fortune. Start looking through your change and check out estate sales. You might just find a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future coin collecting secrets. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to. What if I told you that a simple 5-cent coin from 1988 could be worth more than you ever imagined? It's sitting in your pocket, in your coin jar, or maybe even buried in your change drawer, and it could be worth thousands of dollars. Maybe even more. You might think that's impossible, but wait, let me explain why this isn't just another nickel. This is a hidden treasure that has the potential to turn you into a coin collecting hero. Now, you're probably thinking, 1988? That's just another year, and a 5-cent coin. Really? But stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal might just change the way you see your spare change forever. You might have one of these rare, valuable 1988 nickels sitting right under your nose, and you don't even know it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot these hidden gems, and who knows? You could be holding on to a small fortune right now. Don't go anywhere, because I'm going to show you how to identify these rare 1988 nickels, and how they can be worth far more than face value. The United States Mint has been producing nickels since 1866, and every year, millions of these 5-cent coins are released into circulation. In 1988, the Mint issued the regular 5-cent coin, with the classic design of Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello, his famous Virginia estate, on the back. It was just another year in the long history of nickels, with billions produced and sent out into the world. You might think you know exactly what to expect from a 1988 nickel. But here's the thing, just because the design remained the same doesn't mean that every 1988 nickel is like every other 1988 nickel. In fact, there's one specific version of this coin that's incredibly rare, and it could make you thousands of dollars richer. That's right, thousands. Now, let's be clear. Most 1988 nickels are worth exactly what they say on the face of the coin, 5 cents. And it's easy to assume that all 1988 nickels are created equal. After all, the design was used for decades, and there was no major redesign that year. But here's where things get interesting. Hidden among these millions of coins are a very small number of nickels that contain a rare and incredibly valuable error. Take a close look at this 1988 nickel. To the casual observer, it's just a regular coin. It has the familiar Thomas Jefferson portrait on the front and Monticello on the back. It looks the same as every other nickel in circulation. But what if I told you that the very coin you're holding could be worth far more than just 5 cents? The reality is that most people look at a 1988 nickel and think, oh, that's just a regular coin. They don't think twice about it. But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth not just a few dollars, but potentially thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars? And it's all thanks to a very rare minting error that most people don't even know exists. Let me ask you, how would you feel if you found out that a minting error, a slight mistake during production, could be worth a small fortune? How would you feel if you had that coin in your hand and didn't even know it? This is the secret that collectors and dealers know but that the general public is largely unaware of. If you're serious about coin collecting, you'll want to pay attention to what I'm about to say. This could be the key to turning your spare change into a valuable asset. So, what is this minting error that's hiding in plain sight? It's called a double die. And it's one of the most coveted and valuable errors a coin can have. What does double die mean? It's when the coin die, the metal stamp used to strike the image of the coin, makes an error during production, causing the image to appear twice. This can happen in several places, but in the case of the 1988 nickel, it usually shows up in the date or the portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The double die error is subtle, and unless you know exactly what you're looking for, it's easy to miss. Sometimes the doubling is faint, just a slight shadow or shift in the image. But if you catch it, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth a small fortune. Here's why this error matters. A 1988 double die nickel doesn't just look like a typical 5-cent coin, it has a unique characteristic that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. In fact, a rare 1988 double die nickel has been sold for over $6,000 at auction. That's right. A simple 5-cent coin could fetch you thousands of dollars. But how do you know if you have one of these rare coins? Well, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to identify these 1988 nickels. But before we get into that, let's look at some of the other errors you should be aware of, because your 1988 nickel might not just be a double die. There are other valuable errors you need to know about. Aside from the double die, there are other minting errors that could make your 1988 nickel more valuable. One of these is known as the die crack. A die crack occurs when there's a flaw in the die itself. Over time, cracks can form in the die, and when a coin is struck, the crack leaves a raised line or distortion on the surface of the coin. These cracks can appear anywhere on the coin, but if they're pronounced enough, they can add significant value. Another error to keep an eye out for is the die clash. This happens when two coin dies come into contact with each other without a coin in between them. When this occurs, it leaves an impression on the coin that wasn't intended. The result is a unique and highly collectible error. Some 1988 nickels with die clashes have sold for thousands of dollars as well. So, let's take a moment to review what we've covered so far. You've got the double die error, die cracks, and die clashes, all of which can make a 1988 nickel worth far more than just 5 cents. But how much are these rare coins actually worth? How much can you make from a 1988 nickel if you're lucky enough to find one with an error? Let's talk about some real auction prices. A 1988 double die nickel, in excellent condition, has sold for over $6,000. And even a nickel with a minor error, like a die crack or die clash, can bring in a few $100s. For example, a 1988 nickel with a pronounced die crack recently sold for more than $2,500. These prices might sound unbelievable, but they're the real deal. This is the kind of money that can make a coin collector's dreams come true, and if you're still skeptical about how easy it is to find one of these rare coins, let me tell you a story. A collector once found a 1988 double die nickel just sitting in their change at a convenience store. They didn't think much of it at first, but after doing some research, they realized they had stumbled upon a hidden treasure. They took the coin to a professional dealer for grading and found out it was worth over $5,000. That's how easy it can be to overlook a small fortune. Now, let's get to the fun part. How can you spot a rare 1988 nickel in your own collection? First, let's talk about the most obvious thing to check, the date. When a double die error occurs, it usually affects the date. The numbers in the year may appear doubled, which is one of the easiest ways to identify this error. Next, take a good look at Thomas Jefferson's portrait. The doubling can show up here too, especially on his face, the letters of Liberty, and even on the "In God We Trust" inscription. The doubling can be subtle, so you'll need to pay close attention. If you see any shadowing or a second image, you could have a double die error on your hands. Now, let's look for die cracks. These usually appear as raised lines running across the coin. They can appear anywhere, but check along the edges and around Monticello on the reverse side. The more pronounced the crack, the more valuable the coin can be. Finally, don't forget to check for die clashes. This is one of the more difficult errors to spot, but if you know what to look for, it can make a world of difference. Look for faint impressions of other parts of the coin's design where they shouldn't be. A die clash can add serious value to your 1988 nickel, but here's the secret that most collectors miss. There's one place where you can find these rare coins that you might not expect. And if you know this trick, it could change everything about how you collect. The best places to find these rare 1988 nickels are often the places that collectors overlook. Estate sales, garage sales, and flea markets are some of the best places to uncover hidden treasures. Many of these coins haven't been picked through by experienced collectors, so you could find a rare nickel for just a few dollars. These are the gold mines where real treasures are waiting to be discovered. Another place to find rare 1988 nickels is on online auction sites like eBay. Just be sure to do your research and know what you're looking for before you make a purchase. Sometimes these auctions can be your best chance at getting a rare coin at a great price. Now that you know how to spot and where to find these rare 1988 nickels, it's time to start searching your own collection. Remember, there's always a possibility that the next nickel you pick up could be worth thousands of dollars, or even more. So, what's the takeaway? Keep an eye out for those rare double die errors, die cracks, and die clashes. They could be hiding in your pocket, your change, or your coin jar right now. And who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any more tips on rare coins and hidden treasures. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my other videos on rare coins. Who knows? the next treasure might be in your pocket.